football program is in the playoffs. And tonight, they face a Kilbourne squad that's been there 4 times in their 11-year history. It's the Wolves and the Raiders. Division I regional quarterfinal action is next here on Sport TV. Well, the high school football playoff machine rolls on tonight from Reynoldsburg High School as Worthington Kilbourne takes on Reynoldsburg. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sport TV. I'm Randy Reinhardt. This is just one of our 4 games we bring you in the first weekend here at Sport TV. We hope you enjoyed the Division II action you saw last night with Lexington getting the victory over Marysville and Beechcroft getting by Walnut Ridge by 1 point. You know, this is kind of like Christmas for the folks here in Reynoldsburg. For the first time in 55 years, they're in the playoffs. Kind of like the kid that goes down to the tree the first night, sees those presents. It's unbelievable. For Kilbourne, they're the older brother or sister, Jeff Logan. They've been there before. They just hope the first package they open is not underwear. So this should be a great matchup tonight between the Wolves and the Raiders.
Well, this is exciting. Both of these teams were hoping certainly to get in the playoffs, and they're here in week number 11. Randy, I think the most important part of the ball game tonight is both of these teams are coming off losses from a week ago. And Kilbourne, on their side, they've lost their last 2 games after going undefeated the first 8. It's the team that can go back there and forget what's happened in the last week or 2 and move on in season number 2 here, basically, and move on and have a great campaign in the playoffs.
Jeff Gafford in year number 11 running things for the Wolves. The team is loaded, but they are 8-2 with a 2-game losing streak coming into the playoffs tonight when you look at the squad, and they are loaded offensively. And a focal point is the guy that starts on offense and defense. His name is Zach Harris.
Well, Zach Harris is a strong football player. You know, you got to have a guy that's going to be able to go both ways on the offensive side and the defensive side. You know, Zach Harris is 8 touchdowns. He's averaging 8 yards a try. Randy, here's a guy that has had more than 90 tackles on the defensive side, and he'll move to middle linebacker tonight, moving Dustin Caldwell back out to the outside. They think they're a better defensive football team with that combination.
And they lost to Davidson last week here on Sport TV by a count of 17-14. Tony Pusateri in year number 6 running things for the Raiders of Reynoldsburg, also 8-2 on the season. A loser last week to Dublin Coffman by a count of 19-14. This team has a guy that's very explosive as a wideout, and his name is Mark Fillmore.
Well, you got to have a guy that can make big plays, and Mark Fillmore is that kind of guy. I promise you tonight, in the game plan for this football team is to get the ball deep to this individual, number 9, Mark Fillmore, as many times as they possibly can. Here's a guy with 71 catches on the season, Randy. He is a big-time player, and they got to get him open, and the big old 6'6" quarterback has got to get the ball to him.
In this series, they've only met twice in 95 and 96, and they split those 2 matchups. Should be a great one tonight as the Wolves take on the Raiders. Back with the start of this contest here on Sport TV right after this. Stay tuned. The high school football game of the week, proudly presented by Inside Communications and by Time Warner Communications. We are at Reynoldsburg High School with a showdown between Worthington Kilbourne and Reynoldsburg. And Kilbourne won the toss and deferred, so Reynoldsburg will receive on your left as we get ready for week number 11. As we said, virgin territory for the Raiders. They have never made it to the playoffs before, and the party-like atmosphere here at Reynoldsburg is second to none as we check out the starters in this contest, and we'll start with the offensive starters in this contest for the Raiders of Reynoldsburg. The line looks like this: McManus, Braden, Nicodemus, the only first-year starter up there, along with Bowman and Getz up front for Tony Pusateri and company. Ferguson, the quarterback, with Carish and Spike and Foster, Martin, the tight end, and Fillmore, the man we touched on in the open. That's the offense. A lot more wing T this year, and you'll see them do a number of different things out of that. Fillmore is a threat deep, and great balance for the running backs with Carish and Spike and Foster so far this season. Spike on the season, 668 yards, and Foster's rush for 604. It's time now to check out the defense for the Wolves. Vince Trombetti, the defensive coordinator, normally a stunt 4-3, with Alex Daniel getting a start because Adam Holderman has mono. Finch, Friel, and Stasko up front. As Jeff mentioned in the open, Harris moves to the middle. Caldwell moves to the Sam linebacker. Robinson is the 3rd linebacker for the Wolves, along with Bulware, Worth, Lorello, and Gafford. Bulware with 9 picks so far in the season. So there's the starters we'll see at the beginning of this contest. And Jeff, so much up for grabs, a chance to move on, but the atmosphere here at Reynoldsburg, how much of an advantage is that for the Reynoldsburg Raiders to play their first game of the playoffs and play it at home?
Well, Randy, I got to be honest with you. I was shocked when I heard that this was the first opportunity that Reynoldsburg has had a chance to go to the football playoffs. You know, school that's been around forever. You'd almost think that would happen to Kilbourne. Only a school 11 years in existence. Right. Obviously, this is their fourth trip to the playoff situation. I think, great atmosphere, great reward not only for the senior football players on this team to be able to play at home, but the great fans, I think, as well, have got an opportunity to watch their team play at home. Kilbourne, probably a little more experienced in this kind of a situation, right, but I don't expect Reynoldsburg to lock up at all.
We saw the officials, Michael DeJohn, leading this crew as we get ready for this game. Glad to have you aboard here on Sport TV. Last night it was Division II. Tonight it is Division I. Some interesting games last night as we tape on a Saturday night in Division II. We had a very interesting, murky contest. First half was a lot of fun between Walnut Ridge and Beechcroft. Second half, everybody was in a fog, including the field, but the Cougars prevail 7-6. Will defense be a key in this game? We'll find out. And that one will be kicked out of bounds to start this contest. You want to keep it away from Fillmore, but I'm not sure you want to bring the ball out to the 35 if you're the Wolves.
Well, defensively, if you're going to go ahead and pooch the ball, go ahead and pooch it in a position where they're going to have to fair catch it. That gives you some idea of the respect that this football team has for Mr. Fillmore. Mark Fillmore, 5'11", 175-pound senior, wears number 9 there right at the top of your screen. The guy that's a senior, a co-captain on this football team, and a big-time playmaker.
And a big-time quarterback, and a big quarterback, too. John Ferguson, 6'6", and in the last 2 seasons combined for 3,400 yards passing. You see his vital stats. He has grown an inch. He's 6'6", also plays center on the basketball team. 1st and 10 for the 35-yard line. And he wants to throw it, pressure on the very first play, and sack. Just like that, coming through to make the hit for the Wolves. Big number 42, Brian Finch.
Now, Brian Finch, 3.5 quarterback sacks on the year. That'll go as another quarterback sack, though I'm not sure what the thought process here. Obviously, Ferguson is rolling out, wanting to throw the football. He's not a mobile guy that's going to put the ball under his arm like a Steve Belisari and run it. So they were setting up a pass play. Now you got 3 wideouts.
Watch what you say about Belisari.
Be careful now.
On 2nd down, they need 17. The quick pop underneath is complete to George Ashman. Last year he had 5 catches. This year 26 for George. Good for 396 yards. It'll be 3rd down and long, though, with the ball now resting at the 33. They need a dozen.
Randy, I was talking to some of the Worthington Kilbourne fans before the football game. We watched the replay here. Quick out. This is a high performance pass where you can get it out there as quick as you possibly can. What they're watching tonight, they're concerned that this game might go the way of the Grove City game where they did not get pressure on the Grove City quarterback.
3rd and a dozen. Motion from Foster. Ferguson to throw. Middle screen, batted down on the play. It looked like a paw from big number 55. May have been the difference there with Matt Stasko coming through the defensive end to bat it down. That would be the 4th pass he has broken up this season.
Now, the Reynoldsburg Raiders were setting up a middle screen. That's why the pressure came through so quickly. One of the things that's difficult, though, if you're going to screen, the linemen have got to hold their blocks just a touch longer. And it looked like, actually, it was 42 again. Yep. So Brian Finch, 2 big plays on the first series.
Punting situation now for Vaughn. Good snap, plenty of pressure, and he is a boomer, and this time it just hangs up there. And the return man slips down for the Wolves. Rolls inside the 35-yard line. As that time, Mike Lorello lost his balance. Paul did something interesting in the first contest this season at Sport TV at the Kickoff Classic at Crew Stadium. Told Coach Kusateri he thought against Pickdown he could keep the ball and come up with a big play, and he did. It was a touchdown. Take a look at the offensive starters for the Wolves as they get the ball for the first time with Smiley, Walbright, Kaiser, Brad Davis, and Youngmin Kim up front for Jeff Gafford and company. Fullwear, the quarterback. And we may see Carter to starts at fullback, and will alternate at halfback about 6 different players. So 1st and 10, mark the ball at the 32-yard line with the option that they love to run. Fullwear to keep down the line, spins, gets away. Fullwear on the 1st down play across midfield, all the way down to the 48. The huge play as he made the spin. Kyle Paw thought he had him nailed at the line of scrimmage. He did the 360 and got away. Let's take a look at the defense now for Reynoldsburg in this contest as they play a 4-4 with Strasser, Goglin, McGrady, and Chijoki Amati up front. There's Carlson, Kramer, Hamilton, and Cephas, the linebackers, and they are solid in the secondary with Luttrell, Griffin, yes, a cousin of Archie, and Kyle Baugh. 1st and 10 after the gain of 20. Mark it at the Raider 48-yard line. Option. It goes on the play. The window, and Corey down the sidelines, the 30, inside the 30, all the way down to the 27-yard line. Corey Wendell with a huge play, and on 2 plays, Jeff, they are moving the ball down the field.
Well, obviously, Kilbourne has come out, and they are excited about this football game. They have come out with a high energy level, both on the defensive side and on offense. Terrible mistake on the defensive side by Reynoldsburg there. Hamilton, the linebacker, has got to make sure you do not lose contain on the pitch man. If anything, miss the tackle, but turn it back inside.
21 yards on that gain. 20 on the prior play. 1st and 10 now from the 27-yard line. The inside counter, it's Wendell again, and he's inside the 20-yard line, down near the 15, and move the sticks again. Talk about an explosion by the Wolves. 1st and 10 with 10:20 left to go, 1st quarter.
Right now, the Raiders are back on their heels a little bit on defense. Tony Pusateri and his staff, they're not seeing anything that Kilbourne hasn't shown before, but Randy, let's look at Eric Boulware's stats on the year. 53 completions out of 99 attempts, but passing is absolutely secondary in this offense.
He has rushed for 520 yards himself this season. 1st and 10 now from the 15. 10:05 left to go, 1st quarter. We are scoreless, but the Wolves are threatening. Wendell in motion. They keep it inside. A short gain, maybe down to around the 14-yard line, and that is it. Carter was in there in the backfield at that time. Boulware on the keeper, and Eric will advance the ball for maybe 1 to the 14. It'll be a 2nd down and 9 situation. If nothing else, that will boost the morale of the Reynoldsburg defense.
Randy, Kilbourne's offense in the red zone this year, 39 times in the red zone. 25 have gone for touchdowns, 6 for field goals, so they have scored on 31 of 39 tries inside the 20.
Rivers and Himmel wide to the bottom of the formation. On 2nd down, Wendell moves off the line. Now in motion. Forward the pitch to Wendell, trying to turn the corner on the short side, and is ripped down as he approaches the 10-yard line.
Corey Wendell nearly lost his noggin on that play. Saw the change at the line of scrimmage by the senior quarterback, Eric Boulware. When you're optioning, you got to go all the way to the last man on the line, and Eric Boulware does it, and basically, look at this.
It's Hamilton.
That play. Hamilton comes in there and strips him right by the top of the shoulder pads, the top of his jersey. Very fortunate he didn't catch the helmet and end up with a penalty.
We saw Himmel with a big play in a situation like this last week for the Wolves. 3rd down and 5 from the 9-yard line. They hand it off, try to find the opening inside. They have to get the ball down to around the 4-yard line. See if they have the 1st down as they hand it off to number 5, Brian Bain.
Well, he didn't get a very favorable spot. They got to break the stripe there at the 5-yard line. It appears in order to get the 1st down. This is
4th down and less than 1.
Playoff time, you lock and load. You can't get a half a yard. You don't deserve to be here.
Himmel to the top, Rivers to the bottom. Already intensity. 4th and 1 from just past the 5. They hand it off. They get the 1st down as Carter takes the ball inside the 2-yard line, nearly down to the 1. So Ronald Carter on the carry, 5'9", 190 of a senior, with 442 yards rushing coming into this contest.
Can't tell you how valuable it is to have a guy like Ronald Carter on your football team. You know, he's a guy that would probably start. He'd be the absolute first-team fullback on most teams. They've got 2 of those kinds of guys in Zach Harris and Ronald Carter.
1st and goal inside the 2-yard line. The handoff inside, and Carter makes it look easy as they drive down the field with 8:17 left to go. And Kilbourne now on top in this contest by a count of 6-0.
Well, you couldn't have scripted a better opening series for the Kilbourne offense. You can tell by the way they're going off the field. They got a little bit of spirit going, and they got off the bus ready to play tonight. Not saying that the Raiders did not, but I can promise you right now, Kilbourne is psyched for this football game. They didn't like the taste of the 2 losses ending their season 8-2.
Both by 3 points respectively to Grove City and then to Davidson. Gafford to try the 7-point, and we had a confrontation at the line before the kick, so we'll sort this out. 6-0 the score now as Ronald Carter gets on the board first with his 7th touchdown on the ground. We had encroachment on the defense. Last night we saw that. They decided to go for 2.
Exactly. Most teams would take advantage of a situation like this where you get it down half the distance down to 1.5-yard line. They're going to decline it. You know why? A.J. Gafford, it's rhythm, it's repetition. Those kickers, you take them out of their environment, Randy, just a touch, they don't want any part of it. He'd rather kick it right from the stripe where he's practiced all the time.
There's the snap. Plenty of leg. It is up. It is good. It is 7-0. Wolves, 8:17 left to go. We should not say, though, that Gafford is one of those flaky kind of kickers.
Oh,
because
no.
Here's a guy that plays on offense and defense. He's not in the Barr family like Chris and Matt. Take a look.
He's an athlete. There's no question about it. You see the touchdown. Great surge by the offensive line. A lot of credit inside. Trevin Davis, the right guard. Alex Kaiser, the center. David Walbright, the left guard. That's where most of that surge came, right up the middle.
And decent size, but not huge, with Walbright at 230, Kaiser at 200, and Davis at 255. After what we saw last night from Walnut Ridge.
We go to a Division II game last night. We got Walnut Ridge and Beechcroft. Randy, those were Division I football size guys in college at that level that we saw last night. You come here to Division I high school football, you expect to see that big offensive line. Neither one of these teams are even average in terms of size that we've been seeing in D1. But that doesn't mean that they're not good football teams. What I really credit both of the coaches for doing is developing offensive and defensive schemes that fit best their football players and making sure that they don't just have something that they know well. They're making sure that they mold it to what their kids can do the best.
The average weight along the line for Walnut Ridge last night in the offensive line was 287 pounds. It's like Jeff and me combined.
That may have been after dinner.
Thank you very much. Lorello to kick it off at the 40-yard line.
I don't think Tony Pusateri is shocked by the start of this football game. He's got a tremendous amount of respect for this Kilbourne football team. They've got great speed. What he's got to see is he's got to see his football team on the offensive side, Randy. They've got to come up with big plays.
Well, here's a guy, too, and Tony Pusateri, that knows what the postseason is like. Remember his years at the Sales, and the job he did there, then Westerville South, then as an assistant coach at Bowling Greens. The kick by Lorello. Plenty of juice. Will it break the plane? Yes, it will. Touchback, bring the ball out to the 20-yard line. That's where the Raiders will start their drive. 8:17 left to go, first quarter, down 7.
Randy, I was talking to Tony Pusateri a little bit before the ball game. I said, Coach, you going to do anything any different than what you've been doing? He said, Jeff, the only thing we might try and do a little bit more of is play action with our quarterback and then have him drop maybe 8 to 10 yards deep as opposed to the normal 5 to 7 drop.
Why is that?
What they're doing is they're thinking give him more time so he can throw the ball as deep as he possibly can. They want to try and get the ball vertical to Mark Fillmore as many times as they possibly can. Right now, Fillmore's got 3 guys covering him, though.
And he's to the top of the formation on 1st and 10 from the 20. Ferguson wants to throw. Looking long downfield, and it's a jump ball. And Fillmore with coverage by Ben Worth on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 20.
For some reason, Mark Fillmore quit his route. He stopped running about 2/3 of the way through the route. I don't know if he lost vision with his quarterback. John Ferguson had plenty of time, but this is very unusual for Mark Fillmore to break a route off like this when you're just running a seam. It's not like you're reading anything. You got the big old John Ferguson, a 3-year starter now as a junior. Nearly comes up with the catch, but you cannot stop your route. That's exactly what we were talking about, getting the ball vertical downfield.
Ashman is now wide to the bottom of the formation. The handoff off the left side. They advance the ball across the 23, maybe to the 24-yard line. Josh Bentley looked to be on the carry that time for Reynoldsburg. It'll be a 3rd down situation now for the Raiders. Under 8 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. So Bentley is a guy that on the season had 9 carries for 41 yards. Alternates with Ben Karish at fullback. Now you've got Fillmore and Ashman, Jeff, both in the contest and both wide to the bottom of the formation.
Ashman would be the all-star receiver on a lot of football teams. He's a gifted young man as well.
Those two have combined for over 100 receptions on the season. Ferguson looking that way across the middle. Pass picked off. Right to Lorello. To the 20. To the 15. Lorello all the way down inside the 13-yard line. They say the ball is down before he drops it. Hit made on the play for Reynoldsburg by number 50. It looked like David Histed who made the hit. And now the Wolves with another chance to score with 7:25 left to go in the quarter.
Now, this is just a good defensive play and maybe a poor throw by quarterback John Ferguson. Going a little bit on the back of his foot a little bit, and you can see that he just misses the receiver totally. He's trying to go to George Ashman over the middle. They had Ashman and Mark Fillmore both in the lower level of the zone trying to hit him underneath.
Second interception of the season for Lorello. 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. Fuller, with Windle in motion, gets the handoff, stumbles forward down near the 11-yard line before he's knocked down.
I mentioned a week ago when we had the Kilbourne game against Hilliard Davidson, went to college with Corey Windle's mother and father. His father was a really good lacrosse player at Ohio State. Mom a cheerleader.
Kramer makes a hit on the play. Mark the ball at the 11, gain of 2. 2nd and 8 from there. 7-0 Wolves up and threatening again. And they hand it off to the first man through, and you can drive a train through there, not even just a truck. 80 cars to go through, but that time the caboose was Mr. Carter, and he takes it in for a 2nd touchdown. So just like that, Ronald Carter with 8 touchdowns on the season, and now it's 13-0.
Well, this is the same play they ran when they scored at the 1-yard line, and boy, look at the push by the offensive line. What I really like, though, when you look at that replay, Ronald Carter's coming through. He's got both hands on the ball. Hands were over the tips of the football on both sides. There's no way anybody's going to strip the ball from him.
Gafford for the 14th point. And we're not halfway through the first quarter yet. The snap, the kick, it is up. It is good, 14-0. Going back to a point that you made about Tony Pusateri, they want to throw the ball and look for that big play because they don't think against the Wolf defense they can go 15 plays, 80 yards.
Well, you look at Tony Pusateri on the sidelines. You know, he's an experienced football coach, been in these situations before. But what he doesn't have, Randy, is an experienced football team that maybe knows how to deal with some of the adversity down 14-0 at home in a ball game like this. So Tony Pusateri is going to need to pull them together. Your senior leadership in your football team is going to be critically important, or Worthington could make a track meet out of this thing, and all of a sudden, you're sitting on the wrong side of it.
And I think Mark Hundley, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, too, will make some adjustments as well, too. The former head coach at Hamilton Township. They play that 44, Jeff, and defensively, they normally send a lot of guys, but so far, nothing has worked defensively.
Well, when you blitz, when you've got a bunch of people up front like that, you know, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because in many situations, you got 8 guys in the box. If you break that first line of defenses, we've seen already, you're in that secondary very quickly. And with only 3 defensive backs, there's not a lot of football players down there to make the tackles.
Lorello to boot it. Fillmore's back deep. Crouches at the 2 and comes back the other way. Across the 20, across the 30, across the 35 to the 36-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will start their possession with 6:40 left to go in the first quarter, down 14-0.
Get some idea of the capacity of that young man to really pick it up and put it down. Mark Fillmore, watch here again, takes it at about the 3-yard line, and they're going middle return right up the wedge, and you're just trying to find a gap to run. He's got a lineman in front of him. Now you got to make sure you maintain your composure on the offensive side. Don't make another mistake here.
He is wide to the bottom, Mr. Fillmore. Spike on a wing to the bottom. 1st and 10 from nearly the 37-yard line. Spike's got it, and Spike gets nailed, but the defensive thrust pushes him forward to near the 40-yard line as Dustin Caldwell, the guy that started for nearly 3 years, the Sam linebacker, makes the hit on the play.
Now running the wing T. You notice the difference, Randy, in the speed between the two football teams. Similar offenses that they're running this wing T, but the speed of Kilbourne just seems to be a touch quicker than that of Reynoldsburg right now.
Those little scat backs, you can call them almost, because they have that extra step. On 2nd down, and 7 from the 40. Fergus with a quick pop and slant for Fillmore, incomplete. In and out of his hands, coverage on the play by Brian Robinson, the linebacker. That time drawing a linebacker in coverage.
Now what they're doing is they're giving him 2 levels of coverage every time. They're taking a guy that's playing him nose up, so they're making sure they bump him off the line of scrimmage. And a lot of times that's going to be that outside linebacker or a defensive end. Brian Robinson, the guy who's supposed to hit him off the line, and then what he'll do is he'll pass him off to a defensive back. That's Ben Worth. He's in that 2nd level of coverage.
Ashman to the top, Fillmore to the bottom, timeout to the Raiders.
You know, if they double him on every play, if they basically take Mark Fillmore out of the football game because you double him on every play, you cannot keep knocking on that door. You've got to be able to take them out of that defense, and that means either George Ashman is the other receiver, or what you also have to do, Chris Pike out of the backfield is a guy that has 14 receptions on the year. You're going to have to start mixing it up on offense a little bit.
And you can run the ball some, too. You got a couple of guys that are over 600 yards on the season rushing. As you can see, the total yards plus 78, if you will, for the Wolves early in this contest. Not quite halfway through the first quarter. 6:03 left to go, and 14-0 to count in favor of Worthington Kilbourne.
Now, Randy, this Reynoldsburg defense, which has basically been trashed here in the first couple of series, this is a team that held Upper Arlington to less than 10 yards of total offense.
That's right.
Total offense and only 1 first down in a football game. Now, obviously, Upper Arlington's not a playoff team, but if you can hold any Upper Arlington team to those kind of numbers, you got a pretty good defense.
And they've had 6 shutouts in their last 18 games. Pitch. Yep, they're going to give it back to Fillmore and give him some open field, and he's got it along the far side at the 50, the 45, the 40. Look at him go all the way down inside the 30-yard line before he goes out of bounds with 5:52 left to go. Well, 2 things. You have to get him the ball. Second of all, get it to him in the open field, and they got both of those things there on that play, and a huge game for Fillmore and the Raiders.
A great play call, a little razzle-dazzle, but Randy, they're doing exactly what you said. If you're going to double cover to take him out of the game, you got to find another way to get the ball in the hands of Mark Fillmore. On the reverse, what I really liked was the quarterback, John Ferguson, out there leading the charge as a blocker.
1st and 10 from just at the 30-yard line with 5:52 left to go first quarter. The pitch and the sweep goes to Foster. Foster fights inside the 25, down to around the 24. Foster on the season, 604 yards rushing, 5'9", 187, and a senior.
Well, you'll take 6 or 7 yards on first down every time. Pitch sweep into the open side of the field. Mike Lorello coming up and making the tackle. I thought it was Mike Lorello. Mike Lorello, 15, comes up and makes that. Watch this. Lorello comes up from the inside. He is as sure a tackler, Randy, as I think there is in Central Ohio right now.
Looks like Ben Strout for Davidson the way he shot through there. 2nd and 4 from the 24, 5:13 left to go in the quarter. Inside, working his way down across the 20-yard line is Parrish. He's got the first down to the 19. Well, I know the Raiders don't feel, Jeff, they can drive it 80 yards down the field, but I almost think you have to try it first to see if you can mix the run and the pass.
Well, they're going to, I think what they mean is in terms of driving the ball 80 yards down, they're not going to do it on 4 and 5 yards of crack. They've got to be able to get some big plays in there. They got to get the 30-yard passes or the 30-yard reverse plays that we just saw with Fillmore.
See if they look at the corner of the end zone now for somebody like Fillmore or Ashman. George to the top, Mark to the bottom. 1st and 10 from the 19.
Ashman's got single coverage.
And that's what they're looking for. And Ashman kind of slowed down at around the 5, and they throw the flag 4 yards deep in the end zone with 4:30 left to go here in the quarter.
Boy, a late flag on the interference. I thought the defensive guy had a pretty good position. That was Todd Boulware. He basically put the receiver on his hip. You know, that defensive guy has as much right to that football as the offensive guy. Ball's in the air, there's always going to be a little bit of contact. I thought Todd Boulware was positioned absolutely perfectly here.
Wow.
But there was no question that the official, the back judge, was going to make the call. There was another official, Randy, on the other side.
Exactly.
It was a little bit closer to the play, but he may not have had as good of angle on it.
March the ball inside the 10-yard line with 4:30 left to go. It is 1st and goal Raiders. Ashman to the top, Fillmore to the bottom. Foster directly behind Ferguson. That spike in motion. Foster gets it and gets very little. Gets a yard maybe to inside the 8-yard line, and that is it.
That's a tough football play, dangerous play. It looked like Ben Cherish came up limping on the play. Watch and see if that young man's okay. Well, it may have been Ryan Foster. It was Ryan Foster that came up limping, 44, right there.
He looks to the bench. Kilbourne to the bottom again, and Ashman to the top. Under 4 minutes left to go in the quarter. Fade time. Nope. The zip across the middle of the contact. There's another flag. As that time they're going to call Todd Boulware for going over the back of Fillmore in the end zone.
Now that one was interference. There's no question about that. The contact was there before the ball got there. That's where Todd Boulware got himself in a bad situation. You're better off interfering, though, than giving up the touchdown. This is what John Ferguson's really good at with that big, tall frame of his. Pretty tough to tell on that angle from the replay, but clearly there was contact beforehand.
And that is an advantage at 6'6".
Oh,
he can see over everybody on the defensive line.
It's almost like he's standing on a ladder compared to everybody else out on the football field. So going back and setting up and throwing that dart on the quick slant play over the middle is clearly an advantage for John Ferguson.
First and goal now from the 4-yard line with 3:50 left to go in the quarter. Ashman, Fillmore way wide to the top just to stretch out that defense, you would think. Foster stumbled at the 5-yard line, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
A lot of confusion on the defensive side by Kilbourne. You know, keep in mind that Adam Holderman, who's normally the defensive end, is not playing due to a bout of mononucleosis.
Watch Stasko.
Boy, great
shoot
pressure
through there.
Right up the middle, Matt Stasko. Dustin Caldwell was sitting on the outside and got pressure again from Todd Boulware.
And right now the Wolves defensively are making the statement, Jeff, that they're telling the Raiders if you want to score inside the 10, you may have to put up the ball even from 4 yards out.
That's a little inside slant play to Fillmore.
Foster tries to bang, and there is nothing there. Maybe a half yard, and that is it.
Fillmore and Ashman are nothing but decoys right now, at least the last couple of plays. They've got single coverage. This is where you can use the legal pick play. Watch the replay again. There's just nothing here for Ryan Foster.
They're trying to play 9-on-9 football.
Yeah, and you're not going to get 9-on-9. You're not going to win many of those battles against that Kilbourne defense.
Borello, Harris helping to make the hit. Third down and goal inside the 4. 2:40 left to go first quarter. 14-0 Kilbourne. Fillmore to the bottom. Ashman to the top. Is it slam time? It's the quick pop, and Fillmore can't get it. Now what do you do? With 2:28 left to go, you're down by 14. Do you take 3?
Oh, you got to take your 3 points. You got to get some points on the board. This is a good call by Tony Pusateri. I think if there's anything, you needed to be throwing the ball on first and second down in there instead of trying to go 9-on-9 against Worthington Kilbourne. Don't be surprised if you don't see a fake here. I've been watching college football today, Randy. I've seen more fake kicks today than I think I saw all of last year.
Paul Luttrell's the holder for Paw. It's almost like an extra point, except it's from the right hash. The snap, the kick, it is up. Did he overcompensate? He did not. It's good from 21 yards out. And the Raiders get on the board with 2:23 left to go in the quarter. It is now 14-3 in favor of the Wolves.
A pretty decent drive put together there by the Reynoldsburg offense. Most important thing, 14-0, Randy. They didn't fold their tent. They went down there and they competed. They at least got some points on the board. See the kick, not that line drive type that we're used to seeing by J. Gafford, and no question in these guys' mind that this was good.
Paw now 4 of 5 on field goal attempts so far this season. The irony, Jeff, when you break it down, is the Raiders got in good field position by running the ball downfield. Then inside the 10, it's almost like they had to go to the pass to try to move the football.
Exactly. You know, they didn't complete a long pass in that drive. Their big play came as a result of the reverse to Fillmore.
That drive was 10 plays, 60 yards, took 4:17 off the clock. Paul with a field goal to make it 14-3. The other drives, Carter, on that 11-yard touchdown run was 2 plays, 13 yards after the turnover. And the prior drive, Carter took it in from a yard out, was 8 plays, 69 yards, took 2:49 off the clock. Paw to boot it. A line drive affair. Will break the plane. We'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Doesn't matter what Wendell does in the end zone. It'll be a touchback and 1st and 10 at the 20 now for the Wolves.
Randy, John Ferguson, 1 out of 6 passing so far tonight for 5 yards.
In his defense, I would say he should be at least 3 of 6. A couple of passes were in the neighborhood.
Yeah, they were well thrown, and he had the 2 interference calls. One of which was probably catchable had it not been interference. The other one I don't think was interference in the first place.
Right.
But I've been known to be wrong before.
No.
No?
Never. I can't think of once.
I appreciate it.
1 INT, don't forget, as well, too, for Ferguson.
That's it.
Himmel is wide at the top. Himmel's got 6 catches on the season. Remember, he doubled that output by getting 3 last week against Davidson. I give him a compliment, and he can't take it. Wendell trying to turn the corner, and it's a sea of purple that he meets at around the 18-yard line.
always got to make a decision when you get out there. You can't just sit down behind the blockers. You got to make a decision of either running for the corner or go ahead and plant that outside foot and get it upfield. Got to get moving north and south. Oh, Randy, what a fabulous night for football in Central Ohio. Here we are, first weekend in November, and there's people out in light sweater tonight. We should be freezing our rear ends off at this time of year.
Rivers and Himmel to the bottom. Bang to the top. In motion. Hand off inside, and this guy is running away. Pulling his way downfield. Carter has been the story offensively early on for the Wolves.
Now, Zach Harris, 59 carries, 442 yards coming into tonight's ball game. Tell you what, he is ready to rock and roll tonight and taking advantage of the opportunity that he's been given to start at the fullback spot.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Moving Harris to the middle at linebacker, they feel that Carter maybe should get more touches on offense to give Harris a rest on offense, and that's been the scenario so far in the contest. And Carter right up the middle to the 30, to the 20, and brought down at the 10-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Melvin Griffin.
Boy, oh boy, Carter is on fire. You talk about a young man that has had a career first quarter in this football game. Melvin Griffin came from all the way across the field side to make the stop. Watch again. Great execution inside. The seal blocks by the offensive line were absolutely perfect. There's nothing fancy about this. This is just lock and load, nose-on-nose football, and Kilbourne's winning it.
First and goal from the 9.5. He's got 88 yards in the first quarter. And flags on the play. Let's see if we had false start or encroachment with 1:26 left to go. Well, he's not exactly like him, a slightly different style, but to me, he reminds me of number 26 they had in the past in David Allaby, the way he could motor up the middle.
Very much so. Ronald Carter and Zach Harris, similar in terms of their style, but Ron Carter at 5'9", 190 versus Zach Harris, who's a 6'2", 215 kid. A little bit different packages, but very similar style.
Raiders still pumped, but they're down 14-3, and it's first and goal from the 5-yard line. Full wear on a long count. Carter tries to spin away.
Looks like quarterback
Fulware actually
pulled it back out.
It'll be second down and goal with 1 minute left to go here in the first quarter. And we said that Fulware has done a great job running the football onto that option as well, over 500 yards rushing, and now thrown for about 700 yards as well on the season.
Well, you'd expect everybody to be keying on Ronald Carter right now. They've had so much success down here using the fullback. But this is a good option for the quarterback to pull it out and just sweep around the end on his own.
He's got 5 carries as Carter for 4 first downs. And this time Carter will get the ball and gets to the 4, and that is about it as we're down to half a minute left to go here in the first quarter.
Got a little mathematics problem there, Randy. You got too many purple jerseys to block now. They stack everybody inside. They're determined to make sure they take Ronald Carter out of this football game. And you can see the immediate pressure up the middle. Tommy Goglin, number 36, who plays the nose guard, a co-captain.
Had 3 hits for a loss in that first contest that we did on Sport TV against Pickerington. Fulware on the option, tries to find the seam, and driven back on the play as he found the seam, but hammered back before he can break the play. And that'll do it for the first quarter, but it's been all Wolves. Kilbourne on top of Reynoldsburg, 14-3. Back with the second quarter here on Sport TV. Right after this, stay tuned. As we start the second quarter, Kilbourne on top of Reynoldsburg, 14-3. And Jeff, for somebody just joining the game, what would you say about the first 12 minutes of play?
I got to believe Kilbourne came ready to play football, and they are getting after it in bunches against Reynoldsburg. There you got 4th down at the 1-yard line, and Kilbourne is going to go for it. This is a gutsy call. It's an automatic 3 if you kick a field goal.
4th down and just past the 2, actually, and let's see what Fulware and company do. There's a flag. He rolls. He looks in the end zone. The pass batted down. Griffin makes the adjustment to the ball. Pass intended on the play for Himmel, but there's a flag resting back around the 5-yard line. It's So on the offense, the Raiders have dodged a bullet. If not, the Wolves get another chance. Illegal motion on the Wolves.
Well, you had the timeout of the change of quarter, and what do you get is a mix-up between quarterback Eric Boulware and Ronald Carter on the play action, and really Boulware had not much of an opportunity to do much. It screwed up the timing from the very beginning. It almost seems like, Randy, when you take those timeouts or you have a little bit of a break and you get a chance to talk about it, it's almost like you think too much about it as you look at the statistics. Clearly, Worthington Kilbourne having their way in the first quarter, over 150 yards of total offense compared with only 48 for Reynoldsburg, and really, most importantly, only 5 yards passing for Reynoldsburg.
And a big turnover as well that led to a score for the Wolves. 14-3. It is now first down and 97 for the Raiders from their own 3. 5 seconds into the second quarter. Looking at the slant, guns it in to Ashman. Jeff, that has got to be a difficult ball to catch.
Yeah, but Ashman is upset with himself because he knows that's a ball that he has to catch in these kinds of situations. If you're going to get double coverage at 2 layers, you're going to have a bunch of these little slant patterns, and you can see the importance of the height of the quarterback. Ferguson able to throw through what we used to call a picket fence.
Right.
All those arms up there, he's able to stand up and deliver the ball right in between the hands of the defensive lineman.
Stasko nearly got a paw on it. Walker now and Fillmore wide of the top. Pitch goes to Foster, first to the corner, to the 10, to the 15, all the way out to the 20. A gain on the play of nearly 17 yards and move the sticks. And again, I go back to what I say. It seems like the Raiders maybe have to rethink a little bit. They're running okay, and maybe they have to pass inside the 10.
Well, one of the reasons that they're having success running the ball is that Kilbourne is committing so many people to covering Ashman and Fillmore that if they put the guys at the top, there's going to be room for Ryan Foster, Chris Spike, Karish are going to have the ability to run the football away from the crowd. Everybody is checking out these wide receivers. There's room away from them.
First and 10 from the 20-yard line. 14-3, Wolves on top of the Raiders. The throw on first down is Ferguson. The quick pop, incomplete. At the top of your screen, looking for Ashman on the play. Would have only gained 2 or 3.
Well, Ashman pleading to his quarterback to get the ball up a little bit. I'll tell you what, George, he's back there trying as hard as he can. It's one of those things like you're saying, come on, get it to me. You think he's not trying?
In this series back in 96, Kilbourne a winner, 15-13, 95 at Reynoldsburg. The Raiders victorious, 36-17. As we said, a festive atmosphere here tonight at Reynoldsburg High School. The first team the school has made the high school football playoffs. A sellout crowd and then some wrapping around the near side of the track here. Second and 10 for the 20. That's Spike in motion. Underneath Foster all by himself. Has it at the 25. And again, that was a great job of flooding the far side of the field and coming back to the near side, and Foster had the same.
Now the Reynoldsburg coaching staff was hoping to get a call on the sideline where there might have been an extra hit late in the play. These officials are getting an earful on the sideline.
Gain of 11 to the 31. First and 10 with 11 left to go here in the first half. It's time to 2 wide outs to the bottom of the formation. Foster going the other way. Gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard, and that is it as Zach Harris makes the hit.
Randy, one of the misnomers about this Reynoldsburg offensive football team is because of John Ferguson and Mark Fillmore, you think they're going to air it out every time. They average 171 yards a game rushing. They pass for 172 yards a game. So that is absolutely perfect balance between the run and the pass.
And in the attempt department, it's a 60-40 mix run to pass. Also, we said, too, that they have 2 running backs over 600 yards on the season in Spike and Foster. On second down in just about 10. On the reverse, this time to Fillmore, but he stumbled as he got the ball, but still finds a seam across the 40, the 45, and out of bounds at midfield. So despite the fact that he stumbled back around the 25-yard line, he picks up about 19 on the play, moved the sticks with 10:23 left to go in the first half.
Well, the best 2 blocks of the night have been by the quarterback, John Ferguson, leading on the reverse. Very impressive. How would you like to be a defensive back out there with a 6'6", 220-pound guy? All right, you're the DB right now. You got number 5 coming at you. What are you going to do?
Wink.
Take a seat. Goodbye. You know, Ben Worth doing all he can at 5'10", 160, but that's an overmatch.
And that's in-your-face football on Sport TV. From the 50 on first down. Ferguson looking long downfield and throwing it up for grabs with a pass. Look at Lorello go for the football inside the 20 and gets his second pick of this contest.
Lorello is so good. I'm telling you right now, Lorello may be the best athlete on the football field right now tonight. This young man elevated himself. He played the ball, Randy, the entire time. Sitting back there as a strong safety, playing more like a free safety. There's no question in his mind he's going to intercept this football. John Ferguson's got to make sure he throws the ball further than any one of the Worthington defensive football players, and I can promise you, he thought he did.
Third pick of the season for Lorello. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. The ball's free. They lost the handle, and the Raiders get the big break, and they'll get it back. As that time coming up with the football after Boehm lost it is number 11. And that is a guy that's been solid all year defensively in the secondary for Reynoldsburg, Paul Luttrell. So now the Raiders get the break almost where they were going to throw the pass to.
Now, just when you think you want to put a fork in Reynoldsburg because of their two turnovers, Kilbourne does nothing but kind of spits the pit right here. Brian Boehm, only 36 carries coming into the season, but averaging nearly 7 yards a try. I mean, there's an experienced football player in there, but he just flat dropped the football.
Ashman bottom. Fillmore to the top. 1st and 10 from the 21. Pressure on. Good night. Ferguson goes down. Again, it's Harris making the big play. Well, if Lorello is the best athlete, then maybe Harris is the second best.
Well, Zach Harris, there's no question about this young man. And we talked about him at the open of the ball game. They love to have him in the middle where they can blitz him and go after the quarterback. This is a little bit of a delayed blitz. What they're doing is showing that at the beginning they're not going to blitz, so one of the running backs leaves, vacates the area, and then Zach Harris goes ahead and shoots the gap.
A loss of just about 10 on the play, nearly 11 on 2nd down. With 9:35 left to go, they need more than 20. Play action from Ferguson. Looking for the back, spike out of the backfield, and just over his arms by a yard at the 14.
Now that's a good throw. That's the way you've got to throw the ball out there and make sure that your receiver's the only one that can come up with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. Chris Spike laid out just a little bit too far. You're going to get a great shot of this, guys. This is going to be right into your living room. Watch the ball. John Ferguson lays it up. And look how close Chris Spike comes to this. You know, those are ones that are inches away from being a great pass.
Jeff, question here on 3rd down. You need 21. Do you look to get maybe 10 yards and at least put yourself in field goal range?
Well, I think you're in 4-down territory without question. I think unless they get it all the way very close, they're not going to try a field goal here.
Play action again from Ferguson. Looking downfield. Got a man after him. He's got it at the 10-yard line. And by a yard and a half, it looks like he's got the first down with 9:13 left to go in the first half as he exhorts the crowd to cheer.
Yep, Todd Boulware got beat on the play, but he slipped. He fell down, which is why Ashman was so wide open. And Mr. Ashman's lucky they don't have the celebration penalties that they have in college. You're not going to see it here, but the corner, number 22, Todd Boulware, actually slipped on the play. Tell you what, they are targeting Mr. Boulware tonight. They're going to try and go after 22. He's on an island right now at the top of the screen against Fillmore.
The ball is touching the 10, so it's 1st and goal from the 10. 8:48 left to go. The pitch to Foster, near side. Foster down to around the 7-yard line.
Good play by Dustin Caldwell, the outside linebacker. He was head up on the defensive end, Charlie Martin. Martin was doing his best to try and contain Caldwell, but Randy, what he didn't do was lose contain.
There's one guy that we haven't mentioned yet offensively for the Raiders, the tight end. Maybe that's a factor they could look for. Charlie Martin with 6 catches on the season, good for 48 yards. 2nd and goal from the 7. This time it's Ashman to the top, Fillmore to the bottom. Foster behind Ferguson. Spike on the wing to the top. Quick pop, the pass for Ashman, tries to adjust to the football. Touchdown. Is that Fillmore? Yep. And it's Fillmore with the catch, and now it's a 14-9 contest.
Well, Todd Boulware had the man coverage down below, and I know he's frustrated. It is a combination of a really good receiver. Look at this throw. You talk about being right on the numbers. Great shot again. Our fabulous camera crew. Good work, gentlemen. Good
Fillmore
work
with the touchdown catch, and now a chance to cut that lead, as that is now the 73rd catch of the season. Paul with the extra point. It is up. It is good. Well, early on, it was Worthington Kilbourne up 14-0. The Raiders got a field goal to make it 14-3. Then another pick by Lorello, and you sense maybe the Wolves are going to make another move, but the Raiders on the turnover getting it back on the fumble recovery by Luttrell, and all of a sudden, Jeff, it's a 4-point game at 14-10.
You know, Randy, Worthington Kilbourne had it 4th down on their drive at the 2 as we watch the touchdown again. What a wonderful throw by Ferguson. Good route. You just can't give this man that much space. What they're doing, Boulware, was protecting the slant. He's protecting the inside and trying to use that end zone area, that sideline, is part of the defense. But what Fillmore's doing, he's reading that. So if he sees them take the slant away, he's just going to sit down on the outside. That's great communication from the quarterback back to the receiver.
Well, 3 times, Jeff, they've tried to use that slant play down there, so that's why Boulware was protecting that side. That is the 8th touchdown receiving on the season for Fillmore, and the lead down to 4 at 14-10 with 8:06 left to go here in the first half.
Randy, how big is the inability of Kilbourne to get at least 3 points on their drive when they got it inside the red zone?
On the return, Lorello from the 7 to the 20 to the 25 up to the 29-yard line. And that's where the Wolves will start. Well, let's see if it's contagious for the Raiders defense. Can they pick up from where the Raiders offense left off? And now we've got a player down on the field for Reynoldsburg back around the 22-yard line.
Looks like the injured player is Glenn Taylor, number 30.
Being attended to by the trainers for Reynoldsburg. 8:01 left to go in the first half. Again, both teams at 8-2 on the season. You look at passing yards for this contest. Reynoldsburg on top, 45 zip. And how many passes have the Wolves even attempted in this contest?
I think Eric Boulware has only thrown 1 pass tonight. You know, coming into the ball game, he's attempted 99, so it's not like they're going to fill the air with footballs. You know, they're throwing less than 10 passes a game, so.
But from a receiving standpoint, Jeff, they have a weapon back that they had earlier in the season in Stephen Rivers. They're not sure how healthy he is because Rivers was out with a stress fracture in his foot for 5 weeks. But when he was in there, very effective, averaging over 13 yards a catch. And it's a big addition for this team in the playoffs. We'll see what happens. He's wide at the top of the formation along with Himmel.
Well, the injured player, Glenn Taylor, is not sure where he is right now. I mean, he got dinged pretty good.
Wendell top in motion. Boulware to Wendell. And near the 30-yard line, and that's about it with 7:55 left to go here in the first half.
Pretty decent job of holding on to the football quarterback-wise as long as you possibly can on the option. Watch again. You're looking right into the eyes of the quarterback. He's got to option the end a little bit closer. He's got to finish the play to make sure that he gets commitment on the defensive side. That was Jason Cephas, who's actually an outside linebacker.
And Jordan Kramer makes the hits, the 2-year starter, inside linebacker, who likes wrestling and ceramics. Rivers at the top along with Himmel. Second pass for Boulware. Looking long downfield for Himmel in stride. Got the ball at the 36 and motors down to the 33-yard line.
Boy, had Ben Himmel open, wide open early. I thought they was going to get the ball to him too late. That's a wonderful throw by Eric Boulware. Sitting here talking about the fact that he's only attempted 1. Good play action, freezes the linebackers. Look at the pump by the shoulders. This is so good. It really sets the defensive backs into motion, getting them to think the ball's going somewhere else.
First and 10 from the 33 with 7:32 left to go. Guess who? Carter takes 2 solid hits, but still rumbles inside the 25-yard line, near the 24, and may have enough to move the sticks again. Indeed, it is another first down for the Wolves with 7:24 left to go first half.
Pretty good lick by Jordan Kramer, number 51. Came in to make the hit. Right now, Worthington, Kilbourne feeling that they can certainly run the fullback all night.
And again, at times, Jeff, it looks like they're playing 9-on-9 when they put the two wideouts way wide of the formation. The pitch gets behind Lorello, cuts it down and falls on it at the 31-yard line, as you are coached to do. Didn't try to scoop it up.
Smart play by Lorello. When you run the option, you're going to have some of these that make you look silly. Quarterback pitches it quickly. It didn't look like it was tipped at all. It looked like it was just a poorly pitched out there to Lorello. It's good heads-up play by the senior.
Loss of 8, back to the 31, second down and 18 with 6:37 and ticking first half.
You're going to have some negative yards in this offense. I mean, it's a big play offense. It's a high-risk offense in some occasions. So this is not unusual for Kilbourne.
Is it passing time? Is it Carter time? The answer is it's Carter time, and it's negative yardage time as well. So it'll be third down as Cornelius, or check that, Carlton McGrady, Cornelius' older brother who played here at Reynoldsburg. Can't forget the game a few years ago on the opening kickoff. He took it 85 yards for a touchdown to start things for the Raiders, and now Carlton McGrady getting a chance to start at defensive tackle, 5'8", 168. Too big for a tackle and a junior. On third down, with 5:50 left to go, they need 18 for the first down. That's Himmel in motion. Quick pop across the middle. The pass is caught down to the 25-yard line. Paul makes the hit, making the catch is Wendell. Are we talking 42-yarder here? Or are we talking going for it?
Yeah, you're looking at a 42-yard field goal, and I got to believe that this is Gafford's range. I think he can do it. Let's see if Dad's going to let him take a shot at it here.
He is 2 of 3 on field goal attempts between 40 and 49 yards.
Longest is 44.
Himmel's the holder. Also has the record for field goals in a game. He had 3 in week 1 against the Sails. They do that little shift. All the Cowboys. There's the pressure, the kick. Nope. There's some leg, but is it enough? Nope. It's 4:55 left to go. The Raiders will dodge the bullet and get it back now with a chance to cut into this lead at 14-10.
AJ knew he missed it as soon as he hit the football. He got it too far underneath. Too much rotation on the football. At 40-plus yards, Randy, that's a ball that you got to drive. You got to be a little less rotation on the football. Good spot, good set by the football team, but the ball's rotating that fast, it's not going anywhere.
It's 8 yards deep in the end zone.
He's got plenty of leg. I mean, that's certainly in his range.
Ashman or Phil Moore, do you keep it on the ground? First and 10 from the 20. Spike in motion. Hand off inside. And the gain up to maybe the 22-yard line.
I think Kilbourne would love to see him keep handing the fullback up the middle, but I think you're going to see a whole lot of other offensive sets by Reynoldsburg tonight.
Foster with a gain. Foster last year against Scioto, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and over 200 yards in that game. So he's a guy that can show you that burst, and a guy that can play offensively and defensively as well if you need him. At the 23 now, they need 7 for the first down. We're down to 4:20 left to go in the first half, down 14-10. Foster to sweep the corner, and look at Harris. Man, look like he was shot out of a cannon. We talk about Ben Strout looking that way for Davidson, and Harris went from the middle of the field to the sidelines in about a second.
That's as good a linebacker play as you can have. That's a lot of confidence in Zach Harris, knowing exactly where he needs to be and not wasting any time. And he just runs through the attempted block by the guard, Jeff Braden, who was pulling on the play. He didn't expect to see a linebacker running at that pace.
A gain of a half yard on the play, so it's still third down at 7.
Timeout.
Ferguson takes the break. The second one used by Reynoldsburg. They have 1 remaining. The Wolves with their full complement of 3 timeouts left here in the first half. What a contest this has been in week number 11. 8-2 the record for both of these teams. And you take a look at Worthington Kilbourne, one of the 4 teams to make it into the playoffs in the OCC Central in D1. And Jeff, we look at the OCC Central and the OCC teams, for that matter, of the 8 teams in Division 1, the only team that is outside of the area in Division 1 Region 3 is Logan, and Coffman is faced with that challenge to try to win down there.
You always want to know how good your central district might be, and you're going to find out tonight when you've got a team like Coffman going down to play Logan, or you get some of these other schools in Division 2 that are going to other spots around the state. got a pretty good feeling that the upper echelon of the football teams that we've seen, Davidson, teams like we're seeing tonight in Kilbourne and Reynoldsburg are good football teams, but you really are not going to find out for sure until you get in the state competition.
Especially until you leave this region and taste the test from the northeast and southwestern portions of the state. You can see the total yards. We've had over 300 yards of total offense in the first half. Ferguson to throw. Pumps, the pass, complete, and going down to a knee to catch the ball is Charlie Martin, the tight end, but that's enough for the first down at the 31.
Well, you were pleading for the tight end to get some action tonight. Charlie Martin, not very often used, 6 receptions on the year. And at this time of year, when you're getting so much attention on your wide receivers, backs out of the backfield, or a tight end, is a great call.
Well, it goes back to the number of weapons that you have. It just seems like the Wolves have more weapons offensively right now, and the Raiders are trying to find enough weapons to keep that Wolves defense honest. With 3:17 left to go on first down, Ferguson with pressure, rolls out, looks, decides to tuck, gets back to just about the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. Great pressure on the play by number 66 for Kilbourne, and that was Matt Creel.
Well, that certainly is not John Ferguson's game to tuck the ball under and take off, but he was getting so much pressure up the middle. Looked like the early pressure coming from Matt Friel, and then Dustin Caldwell, the outside linebacker, was able to run him down. Took a good angle.
Second down and 10. I want to mention something here. If they run that reverse again with Fillmore, he's also the backup quarterback, and he's 0 of 1 passing on the season. So in case they decide to come up, that's something that could keep the defense honest. They're looking across the middle. The quick pop, it's complete. It goes to Martin, the tight end, up to the 42-yard line.
Again, if you're going to take the wide receivers out, you're going to double cover. I mean, somebody's got to pay attention to the tight end.
And that is great adjustment, too, by the coaching staff of the Raiders, too. 20 years ago in high school football, you had a game plan and you stuck with it for about 3 or 4 quarters.
Well, you didn't have the communication devices that you have now. You didn't have the ability to analyze things as well as the coaches have today, and these guys spend an awful lot of time sitting and watching tape.
Actually, they have 4 potential receivers to the top of the formation with 2:08 left to go and a 1st and 10 for the 42. The pop is complete to Fillmore, and he takes the pop at the 45, courtesy of Ben Worth. The clock will stop as they move the chains. They still have 1 timeout left. 2:03 on the clock here in the first half.
Randy, I maintain if you're going to double cover at number 9, Mark Fillmore, you got to put one guy right up on the line of scrimmage. You see Ben Worth coming in and taking him right on the hip, and but you got to slow him down off the line a little bit. If you allow Mark Fillmore to run free from the line of scrimmage, he is going to find a way to get open. Now Bullware's got him at the top.
Bentley checks in as the running back. Foster on a wing to the bottom. That spike in motion from the top. The misdirection, it goes to Foster, finds the seam inside the 35, fights his way down to the 32. That will move the sticks and, more importantly, stop the clock with 93 seconds left to go first half.
Kilbourne getting a little bit of their own medicine, using the inside reverse. They ought to know the play pretty well. They invented it.
In Central Ohio, at least.
Exactly.
And again, Jeff, it's the mix of the run and the pass right now to keep things honest for that Wolves defense. Reynoldsburg found that elixir, going to the tight end, looking for the wideouts, giving it to the wing back, to the running back, and now they moved it down to the 32, and Ferguson wants to throw on first down. Looking long downfield for his man in the corner. Ashman had a chance inside the 5-yard line. Pass goes incomplete with 1:04 left to go first half.
Boy, how well thrown was that football, though?
And thrown a mile across the field, too.
No question about the arm strength of this young man, John Ferguson. I'm talking to Coach Pusateri before the ball game. I asked him how quick is his release. He says, well, he's probably got a stronger arm as opposed to a quick release. And he's been working on trying to get the ball out quicker. That's one where it doesn't require so much the quick release, but it requires the touch.
Jeff, are you forced to keep throwing the ball now? 2nd and 10, 1:04 left to go here in the first half with only 1 timeout left?
I think that's the strength of your ball game, and you got to do clock management, so I think it's a good idea.
That's why they run the counter with Foster. Gets down to the 31-yard line. Now you either get up rapidly or you burn your timeout. You can't down the ball because then it would be 4th down.
2 timeouts remaining, I think I've got for Reynoldsburg.
I've got him with one. They burned 1 in the first quarter, 1 here in the second quarter.
Gotcha. So
45 seconds left.
Manage things properly here. 3rd down.
And up to the line of scrimmage. Ashman and Fillmore to the bottom. Spike on a wing to the top. Down to 35 seconds left to go. Foster, the back behind Ferguson. Quick pop, the pass complete, goes to the tight end. Martin fights down to the 20-yard line. That will stop the clock when you move the chains. Now you can go ahead and spike the ball if you want to. By spiking, we're not talking about giving it the crisp spike. We're talking about throwing it into the ground, we should add.
Well, they went ahead and took their timeout.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure this was a great idea. Obviously, you got the clock to stop to move the chains, but if you line up and spike the ball, you still got 23 seconds and you preserve your timeout. Throw over the middle of the tight end. He doesn't have the first down here, guys. If he doesn't give this second effort, they need more gang tackling by Kilbourne. Let's listen in.
And everybody just line up on the line of scrimmage. Don't worry about who's on and who's off. He's got to sprint up to the ball. We got to get a spike so we can get another play, all right? Okay, we're going to go with 800, and you're going to go 885 max. Keep in, help it to him real quick. Give him enough stuff. Everybody protect. Stay in tight. Everybody stay in the ball. Regular 885 max. There, throw it away, right? Now let's line up again. Fullback, block to your left. Fullback, block to your left. Go.
Well, they know they don't have any timeouts left, and they want to make sure that if they stay in bounds, they're ready to spike the ball. What play do you think that is?
They're talking this 800 Z-in. The Z-in is one of the wide receivers. It's going to be Fillmore. Z-in meaning he's going to do an in route. If it's not there, throw it away.
With the pump fake, I think, to start the play as well.
See what happens.
From the 20. Doesn't have time to do the pump fake because the pressure's there. Guns it in, the double coverage. The pass is complete inside the 5-yard line with 15 seconds left to go.
Now, if you're going to triple coverage Fillmore, you can't have 3 guys standing behind him. You've got to get somebody in the underneath zone to make sure that Ferguson doesn't have to have an open alley to throw. Here goes, John.
Trying to run him out there in the field so they don't get the delay of game, although I don't think 5 yards hurts them here with 15 seconds left to go. Do you look at the corner of the end zone here?
You got to hit the fade. Man-to-man, top of the screen. There's your buddy Fillmore.
That would be a rocket throw, though. The slant might be an easier pass.
He'll take whatever the defense gives him.
Ferguson spins, looks, presses on, throws it to the corner. The pass incomplete at the 1-yard line. Coverage on Fillmore by Boulware.
Still 10 seconds remaining. You know, they don't want to commit too many people out there on short yardage because then you expose yourself to a running play up the middle. But with 10 seconds left, I think you've got to make sure you double cover the number 1 receiver, which is Fillmore. Good effort.
They pull the tight end. Martin comes out. Now they've got 3 wideouts, 2 to the top. Add Spike to that mix as well, too. Then all along to the bottom of the formation, you have Fillmore. Walker and Ashman to the top. There's the quick pop. They got a touchdown to Fillmore. You kind of sense that was going to happen with 7 seconds left to go. After trailing 14-0, Reynoldsburg leads 16-14.
Well, they go trips to the top, and they do that only to make sure they take as many people away as possible so you can't double coverage Fillmore. Fillmore's got an option out there, Randy. It's not a slant. It's whatever he wants to do. If they take away the inside, he pops to the outside. That's where touchdown number 1 came from. If they don't take away the slant, that's where they go. That was touchdown number 2.
Paw for the points. Well, Jeff, the question is, what's better than 9-on-9 football? 8-on-8. And that's what they were able to do with 3 wideouts to the top of the formation.
Very impressive.
And now it's 17-14, 7 seconds left to go. Do you just pooch it along the ground here?
Well, I think you do. You squib it, don't give them a big play. You know, Randy, this has got to be incredibly frustrating for a football team. Everybody in the stadium knows where it's going. John Ferguson doesn't even hide it. He's just reading his buddy out there to decide where it's going to go.
And that's the 9th touchdown catch on the season for Fillmore.
Once again, he's reading the defensive back. If the defensive back is in the inside, he's going to run the slant. If the DB takes away the inside, he's just going to curl up on the outside. Ferguson's going to hit him wherever he goes.
And again, remember, I kind of disagree with that theory of 15 plays, 80 yards. I thought they might be able to do it if they did the run and pass mix. That was a 13-play, 80-yard drive that took 4:48 off the clock.
Very impressive.
And now it's a 3-point lead. Boy, that's something that Kilbourne hates to see. They lost by 3 in week 9. They lost by 3 in week 10. They're down by 3 just before the half here in week number 11. Coming up at the break, we'll be entertained by both high school marching bands. In between, Jeff and I will look at the stats. And they keep it along the ground. And scooped up by Caldwell. He rumbles like a fullback. 2 seconds left in the first half. If you're the Wolves, do you take a shot here?
Jeff Gafford, my guess would be he's just going to take a knee and head for the locker room. Let's see what happens.
Kilbourne will get the ball to start the second half. Remember, they deferred at the start of this game. What a comeback by the Raiders in this contest. 14-0 early, and Jeff, you almost sense it was the old days of the Raiders from 20 years ago where it could be 56-0. Rivers way wide of the top, Himmel way wide of the bottom. And look at the secondary going way back. Paw is about 30 yards off the line of scrimmage. It's Lorello on the handoff. He's to midfield and knocked out of bounds by Cephas at the 45, and that'll do it. 31 points in the first half alone. Reynoldsburg down 14-3. They come all the way back as they hit Fillmore twice on touchdown passes. There's big number 9. Big number 9 has scored 6 twice in this first half. That's the second one with 7 seconds left to go. And because of that, the home team on top, 17-14. We'll take a break. Back with more here on Sport TV and the game of the week right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back at halftime. Reynoldsburg on top of Worthington Kilbourne, 17-14. Entertained now by the Kilbourne High School Marching Band under Don Clark in his 4th year. 147 on the field. The assistant directors of the band, Michael Maynard, Andy Johnson, and Greg Taylor. Let's listen now to their competition show. The Worthington Kilbourne High School Marching Band, and we should tell you that the percussion instructor is Jeff Jones, the low brass instructor is Tom Schiefer, the color guard instructor is Jamie Knox. Field commanders, Tyler Seipel, Bethel Schiefer, and Yuki Sato. The majorette is Kim Carvey. Color guard captains are Stephen Haw, Suzanne Hall, and Hillary Nelson. Begin their competition show with chorale and shaker dance, Chester, and American Faces, the song you're hearing right now, featuring the band singing, in fact, during this number. Composition by David Pulsinger. We'll listen for another 30 seconds to the Kilbourne High School Marching Band, then more about the band, and Jeff and I will take a look at the stats from the first half. Kilbourne High School Marching Band. Events coming up for the band. The band performed at the OMEA State Finals in Dayton on Sunday at 7:15. The marching band finale is Wednesday, November the 7th, 7:30 in the auditorium. Admission is free. The band will perform in April at Disney World. They have a Friends of the Band fundraiser coming up. That's where you have the opportunity to sign up for different levels and make a corporate or personal donation to the band. For more information, you can call Tim Ellifritz at 761-8953. That's 761-8953. Hats off to the Worthington Kilbourne High School marching and singing band, I guess we should say, here at halftime. We're rejoined now by Jeff Logan. It's time now to look at the stats from the first half. And early on, it was all Kilbourne. But, Jeff, look at the numbers. And right now, the Bulls is only 30 yards in total offense in that first half.
Well, it truly was the tale of two separate quarters. Worthington Kilbourne totally dominating things in the first quarter of play, not only statistically but on the scoreboard. Reynoldsburg comes back. They've got 197 yards of total offense, but Randy, 149 of those yards came in the second quarter of play. Completions attempts, you got a quarterback in Ferguson, 10 of 21 for 109 yards. He was 1 out of 6 for 5 yards in the first quarter.
And some key passes, too, to Charlie Martin to keep drives alive. I think they went to him like 3 times, and all 3 were able to move the chains and get the first down. And again, it goes to the elements of variety that Reynoldsburg needed in this contest. You almost sense early on that Wolves could do anything they wanted to offensively. Reynoldsburg needed a few more things. Here are some of the elements we touched on for Worthington Kilbourne. One of them, I think a surprise factor to everybody, was the early strong play of this guy inside during this contest for Worthington Kilbourne, and that's Ronald Carter.
Now, Ronald Carter had a great first quarter in the football game. His total statistics in the first half, rushing Carter 8 carries, 99 yards, 2 for touchdowns, but then Mr. Fillmore took over, and Ferguson to Fillmore counted for 2 touchdowns in the second quarter of play. Both of them very similar, where you've got read patterns where the receiver decides whether or not he's going to slant or whether he's going to set up and take the bullet pass.
He had 4 catches for 41 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, we should add, he had 2 carries for 49 yards as well in that first half. So he was a threat either running the ball or catching it as a wideout. The other thing, too, about Fillmore is quite often, Jeff, he's more dangerous when he catches the ball after the catch. It's the yards after the catch, the yaks, that you like to talk about that make him so effective. Well, the Wolves have kind of shut that down simply because a lot of times when he's touched the ball, it's been on the slant pattern in the end zone.
Exactly. I think, you know, one of the misconceptions about this football team is that everybody knows about the 6'6" quarterback, John Ferguson, so they think that all they do is put the ball in the air. They're a more balanced football team than people give them credit for. I mentioned already 171 yards a game rushing, 172 throwing the football, and what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to find some other people to go to, and that's why Charlie Martin has played such an important part from the tight end in this football game.
Ferguson, we should mention, too, completed 8 of his last 10 passes. He started 2 for 11 passing. Fillmore, 6 touches, 2 for touchdowns, 4 for first downs. And Carter, for the Wolves, 8 carries, 2 for touchdowns, and 5 for first downs. You talk about guys that can make things happen. They're the guys right there in Ferguson, Fillmore, and Carter that have been the difference for these 2 teams in the first half.
Well, you talk about money players, those guys are money.
In high school.
Yeah, I mean, that's money.
Yeah.
You got to be able to go to those guys that can make big plays in big games, and it doesn't get any bigger than this, at least for Reynoldsburg, this being their first playoff game in history.
I believe she's calling in the score right now.
Thank you.
Break. The Reynoldsburg High School Marching Band now on the field under Brian Stevens in year number 9, 168 on the field altogether. The assistant band directors, Tricia Beetler and Jody Shoemaker. The percussion instructor is Gary Sweeney. The color guard advisor, Erica Skrobot. The field commanders, Megan Favinger, along with Ashley Kruger and Brittany Lester. This is music from the Broadway musical Jekyll and Hyde. First number is Prologue, featuring a vocal solo by Marcus Spear and Ashley Kruger on mellophone. Also, Dr. Jekyll features a duet with Joe Watkins on trumpet, his twin brother Jason Watkins on trombone, plus Marcus Spear on baritone and Ashley Kruger on mellophone. Events for the band: the 6th annual car raffle is history. A 2002 Honda Accord was involved. The raffle raised $10,000. The band performed at the state contest last weekend and received a superior rating for the 8th straight year. And for more information on the band, you can hit them on the net at RaiderMarchingPride.org. Again, on the net, it's RaiderMarchingPride.org. The Reynoldsburg High School Marching Band under Brian Stevens. What a job he's done in nearly a decade running things here. Always a class band, always around 150 to 175, and an outstanding performance each and every week. Here now, the Reynoldsburg High School Marching Band. Reynoldsburg High School marching band entertaining here at halftime. At the break, the Wolves down by 3, but they'll get the ball to start the second half. More with the high school football game of the week on Sport TV after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back as we start the second half. You know, we talked about ball control, and Reynoldsburg didn't think they could do it. Well, in the first half, Jeff, Reynoldsburg 14:35 is how long they held the ball. Kilbourne 9:25. Reynoldsburg ran 40 plays. Kilbourne just 25.
Well, big plays have been important. You know, there's been a lot of plays of 10, 15, 20 yards or more for both football teams. But you talk about momentum in this game. Clearly, Kilbourne came out ready to play, and it was almost like after they got the first 2 scores on the board at 14-0, I'm not going to say they sat back and tried to protect the lead or anything, but it was almost like they got a little bit casual in terms of some of the things that they did really well. On the other hand, Reynoldsburg, you know, they were at a crossing point as far as that football game was concerned. They could have started pointing fingers at one another, but Tony Pusateri rallied the troops and got them back in the game. Not only back in, they're leading this sucker 17-14.
As you look at the Wolves around Jeff Gafford, their head coach in year number 11, what a job he has done with that program down through the years. You look at his career mark of 111, 79, and 1. Of course, before coaching at Kilbourne, a long-time head coach, 8 years at Franklin Heights, 45 years of age, and then Tony Pusateri doing a great job as well, too, with his program at Reynoldsburg. There's Coach Gafford with the headsets on and working his way across the field. And, you know, we were checking the stands here. We saw Bob Jacoby, the head coach of DeSales here tonight. Remember, when he coached DeSales, his head coach was Tony Pusateri before he took over, so he's here. Also, I saw Bob Stewart. In fact, I see him right here, some 7 rows away from me, the former head coach at Eastmore, Coach Archie Griffith, and coached here. And some great teams at both schools. Tony Pusateri, what a job he has done, not only here, but as we said in the past, Westerville South and DeSales, and assistant coach to Gary Blackney at BG as well, too.
Well, he's got the dual role here at Reynoldsburg as not only the head football coach, but he also serves as the director of athletics. So his schedule is fairly busy, week in and week out, but even more so trying to get this site ready for a tournament site. Obviously, Reynoldsburg, from an athletic standpoint, Randy, had never hosted one of these games before, so this was new stuff as far as they were concerned.
And hats off to Chris Ryder, the basketball coach, who has acted as the press box coordinator here tonight, putting us right at the 45-yard line. He's done a fabulous job. He's got a great basketball program. And the Raiders, down through the years, I was trying to trace it back. When we started here, Mike Sammons, I think, was the head football coach. Then it was Rob Sass and Ike Eichinger and Bob Stewart down through the years. And finally, here in 2001, some 55 years later, the Raiders get a team in the playoffs. Paul with a kick, high, not that deep, and an up man to return the ball for the Wolves. Coming back with the ball, Jason Hanlon, and a solid collision right there.
That's what happens when you get a lineman carrying the football. All the blockers went one way and the lineman went the other. But Hanlon did a good job of fielding the football and not letting the ball get on the ground.
He's 6'1" and 210. He can handle it.
Yeah, now you got a bunch of line guys up there, so tuck it and go.
And a flag on the play, a penalty on the Wolves. Blocking below the waist to call on Kilbourne. So march it back 3 seconds into the second half here. Randy Reinhardt, Jeff Logan, Steve Bassford. As we do a doubleheader weekend with this crew on Sport TV, we should also mention that production partners also doing 2 games this weekend. So you have 4 playoff games on Sport TV. I hope you've enjoyed all the action you've seen so far, and stick around. More playoff games coming up next weekend here on Sport TV.
Not necessarily the way you wanted to start, blocking below the waist, coming back. Ball will start at the 10-yard line and mark it to the 12.
See what the Wolves do here offensively. The factor early on for this contest for this team was Ronald Carter. He scored a couple of touchdowns on the ground. They were able to go to Himmel for a long pass as well, too. One guy that's been out there as a wideout but has not touched the ball so far in this contest is Stephen Rivers, number 24. And they test the middle and give it to Carter. It was effective in the first half. A short gain on first down.
Ron Carter, 8 carries, 99 yards in the first half, so that puts him over the century mark for the football game.
Well, they say he's not as fast as Harris, but in the open field, I would almost debate that. But he's also a lower target. You touched on that, Jeff. Lower to the ground and harder to bring down. Bounces off people.
He's solid. He looks a little bit like the running back over at Davidson.
Mr. Phillips?
Mr. Phillips, Eric Phillips.
From the 15-yard line. Fuller on the option, keeps.
Oh, face mask.
21-yard line. Yep, Paul was in there and grabbed him by the plastic, and we get the flag thrown at the 21 with 11:16 left to go here in the third quarter.
No question about this. When you see the quarterback's face going down first, you have a pretty good idea that somebody's got the face mask. You know, 99% of those occasions, Randy, are going to be inadvertent. You know, they're not in there trying to rip the guy's face off. Right. You just kind of get your hand stuck in there and end up with a penalty, and fortunately you don't get somebody hurt. That's the scary part.
Does that bring back bad memories for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are times where somebody grabs a hold of that face.
That's
face mask right here. He's got him, pulls him straight down.
Couldn't remember if they had face masks back when you played.
Go ahead.
A little uncertain.
Go ahead and start.
Those leather helmets. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Well, we're on the opposite, forced to eat it. A great job of playing the option that time defensively by the Raiders, and there is nothing there.
That's good pressure by the Raider defense.
I think Cephas was the first to get in there, number 7 on your screen.
Defensively throughout the year, they've allowed only 2.8 yards per try on rushing plays. And what Boulware does here, which is smart, is just buries the ball. Do not take a late pitch out there. Turn it over on your short side of the field.
2nd down. They need just about 13 with 10:28 left to go, third quarter. See if they put it up. He wants to. He pops. The pass deflected, intercepted by Paul. Coming back the other way to the 20, to the 15, and one of the fastest punters in the world down to around the 13-yard line.
Now they were trying to go to Corey Wendell down the seam. Very difficult pass to catch. Hit him in the shoulder pads. Ball pops straight up. Most interceptions are caused by tip passes or balls that pop up like this, not by ones that are poorly thrown by the quarterback.
Hamilton got upon it.
Yeah, Hamilton dropped back from his linebacker spot. His paw ends up handing it off to the other paws. Sorry about that.
That refreshes. 1st and 10 from the 14. 10:16 left to go, third quarter. Kilbourne to the bottom, 3 wide to the top. Ferguson looks that way initially, looks for Ashman in the corner. That pass a little off target there with 10:11 left to go.
Yeah, that didn't start well for Reynoldsburg. But again, it's the kind of throw that's not going to get intercepted. He's basically throwing the ball away.
On 2nd down now and 10 from the 14. One thing we haven't seen from the Raiders yet here in this contest is a good old-fashioned draw play.
Yep. Here comes your tight end into the game, Charlie Martin. Played a significant role in the first half.
Sandwich to the bottom. Just beside him is Spike on a wing there. Spike in motion out of the top. Fillmore is wide at the top of the formation. Foster to turn the corner. And look at the pursuit to get to the corner. That's the thing about this Wolves defense. You think you have a step. By the time you get to the corner, there are 3 Wolves waiting to hit you.
The speed of Dustin Caldwell, Zach Harris, and Mike Lorello in particular is pretty impressive. This time it's Mike Lorello, 15, who comes up from his strong safety spot. And this is just really fast football, guys. He's getting out there, and Mr. Foster's got no chance.
So now it's 3rd down and it's about 10 again from the 14. 9:37 left to go, third quarter. Wolves trail 17-14. That's Spike in motion. Ferguson looks, pops across the middle, pass complete. Down to around the 5-yard line to Fillmore. Now what do you do?
They got 3 guys covering Fillmore again, but what they're not doing is they're not hitting him coming off the line of scrimmage.
It's 4th down and just about 1 with 9:14 left to go.
They're almost playing what I would call a soft bucket zone, where they're trying to put kind of a bucket around him, but somebody's got to get up in his face and rock him at the line of scrimmage. 4th down, you got to go for it here.
Karras checks in with a play from Tony Pusateri. 4th and 1. Ferguson is 6'5". If he falls forward, he may get it. And a whistle and a flag. Do we have encroachment on the defense?
Looks like Matt Friel, 66, came out of his stance and kind of leaned into the neutral zone.
It is encroachment. It is now 1st and goal Raiders with 8:51 left to go. Inside the 3-yard line. Well, these fans have been on a roller coaster ride on the near side of the field.
Yeah.
And the same thing for the fans on the other side. They were standing early and now they're sitting down. We'll see what happens. 1st and goal inside the 3. And great job by the interior of the Wolves defense to shut that down. Early on, there was a hole, but then the Wolves had 3 guys to stick the ball carry with 8:28 left to go, third quarter.
Looked like a lot of the pressure coming up the middle was Alex Daniel. Alex Daniel, the young man that is playing in place of Adam Holderman, diagnosed earlier this week with mononucleosis.
Daniel with 8 solos, 10 assists so far in the season. It's second down and goal from just around the 2. Ferguson trying to turn the corner, and he got in for the score. Late signal, 7:57 left to go. And now the Raiders expand their lead tonight at 23-14.
John Ferguson just followed his fullback in. Ferguson's got 4 rushing TDs on the year, and my guess is that the other 5 now, the first 4 were pretty much like that one.
Again, I go back to his frame on 4th down, and maybe that was the play that was going to be called then, because at 6'6", really he's listed as 6'5", but he has grown a year fast since the start of the football season. At 6'6", that's 2 yards right there. Paul to make it 24-14. The kick, it is up, it is good, it's a 10-point lead, but if you think the Wolves are out of this contest, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to quit on you by any chance. A.J. Gafford's out there with his football team trying to get them inspired. Watch again. Pulls it back out.
Barely pulled it out from Karish.
Well, I'm not convinced that it wasn't a handoff. I think it was a broken play.
It almost looked like Karish was a half step off, and Ferguson opted to get the ball back.
Yeah, if the fullback turns around and looks at the quarterback like that, that gives you the indication that it probably was a broken play.
That's the mini option for the Raiders.
I'll tell you what, John Ferguson made it look good. Talk about improvisation. You just, take off and go.
Part of the sellout throng here on the east side off of Livingston Avenue. Take a look at this touchdown one more time. I mean, it was pretty interesting as to whether it was going to be a handoff or a keeper. We'll check it out right after this play. Again, a short kick, and hey, Mr. Hanlon's got it again. He's in the record books for 2 kickoff returns in 1 contest.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Maybe vying for a new position. Watch again.
Yeah, well, I think you're right.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, he was optioning. He either didn't hand it off well or didn't option very well. But, the result is good. It's 6 points for Reynoldsburg.
When you take it back, you're normally in front of the runner. He was about 1.5 yards behind him. 1st and 10. Boulware on the option. Spins and up to the 40. That's the one thing I was going to say. That is one element that's been missing in recent drives for the Wolves. You got to keep him honest defensively and put Boulware back in this contest.
Boulware is the kind of guy that Ferguson does it through the passing game, keeping the defense honest. Boulware does it through the option. We saw in the first drive, Boulware broke open on the option for a long run. That was reminiscent of that play early in the football game.
His record as a starter and quarterback, 13-3. Enough said. 2nd down and just about 4. Looks to throw. He's got a man wide open. Pass goes to Bame. Brought down inside the 35-yard line. The quick pop across the middle, wide open with 7:10 left to go, 3rd quarter.
I think Brian Bame was shocked he was as wide open as he was. Ball was pretty well thrown. Bame coming right out of the wingback spot, and watch this. If he catches this football and takes off, guys, it's a touchdown, but just can't gather his feet underneath him, and Kyle Paul was there to basically lay on top of him when he fell.
His 8th catch on the season takes him over 100 yards receiving so far in the campaign. Misdirection, it goes to Lorello, but it took a long time to develop, and as that happened, the surge was there defensively for the purple and gold.
Well, I'd like to see him get the ball downfield to Lorello. I like him running pass routes. I know that he's a wingback and you're used mostly in that wing T, but I think that if they got themselves in a situation, yet we've not thrown a ball yet to A.J. Gafford, who's their #1 receiver.
Right.
Came in with 11 catches on the year, not throwing the ball to Mike Lorello, who only has 4 receptions. I think they got to get the ball downfield.
2nd and 10 now from the 35. 6:20 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Boulware wants to throw again, wide open, and you called it. Lorello across the middle. Jeff Logan passed his Karnak on that play, and now it is 24-20 with 6:13 left to go, 3rd quarter.
I got some lottery numbers I'll share with you.
Thank you very much.
Well, you just kind of get a feeling when they should maybe start getting some of the guys active in the offense. Mike Lorello running a very similar route to what Brian Boehm ran down the seam. Again, if you get so many guys committed inside, Randy, playing that 9-on-9 football, you're going to get some man coverage. And there's your best athlete on the field, Mike Lorello, going for the score.
Gafford for the 21st point. The snap, the kick, plenty of leg. It's no good though, wide left. It stays at 4 points, the difference at 24-20 with 6:13 left to go.
How big of a shock is that?
That is something that you don't see too often. Again, the touchdown pass. My coach used to say this guy has flashy shoulders.
Yeah, he is strong. He got outside of the coverage. He's got a linebacker, Hamilton, covering him. Hamilton was getting some support from Kyle Paw. I'll take that man against any linebacker in town.
So now the lead at 4 with 6:13 left to go, 24-20. And what did we tell you 1 minute ago? That the Wolves were not out of this contest. They proved it on that drive. And again, what was the factor there? Well, you had Boulware with the run. You had Carter with the run. You did enough with Boulware to keep him honest. And the thing was, the Raiders overcommitted with 9 in the box. And just like that, the quick pop was open a couple of times. And you exchanged athletes. One time you had Boehm. The next time you go for the guy with a little more speed, Lorello. You take the distance.
Well, less than 50 yards passing in the first half for the Worthington Wolves, Kilbourne Wolves, but they come back in a flurry here in the third quarter.
You get the sense this could be like an old AFL football game. It's 24-20, 6:13 left to go. The Raiders on top of the Jets right now.
Mike Lorello, who scored the touchdown, placing the ball right there on the tee. Look at the science that goes into this thing, guys. Remember when you were a kid how easy it was to put the ball on the tee?
It won't stay up.
Well, these guys, well, that's because they want to put it just one little nub short of perfect. Look at this.
It's a career move.
Here we go.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, the officials are about ready to get frustrated with it.
You got it. I was waiting for the official to kick it over as he walked by. That drive, 4 plays, 66 yards. Barely took a minute and a half. Took 1:38 off the clock. Lorello, 35 yards out. There's the high, soft kick, and it bounces and is scooped up at the 15-yard line. Griffin back the other way. Griffin finds an opening. Griffin running like a Griffin up across the 40-yard line to the 41.
Well, wearing that number 45.
And Bob Stewart sitting in the stands, too, the former head coach of Archie.
He's loving it. And Melvin came up a little hurt. He's your starting quarterback. Watch again, he got very fortunate when his ball hit the ground that it popped up right to him. Many long run backs come once the ball hits the ground. It kind of takes the timing, and Mike Lorello down to make the tackle. How good is that?
1st and 10 from the 41. 6:06 left to go. Spike in motion. They reverse it to Fillmore. Across the 40, the 45, midfield, all the way down to the 45 in Wolves territory. Enough for another first down with 5:57 left. I go back to what I said, though. They're running that reverse. They spread it out. I think they're setting up a pass play off of that.
Well, one of the things you have to do is you have to run the ball effectively before you can have the reverse, and that's why Reynoldsburg has been effective on 3 of these reverses. You know, everybody on the line, as far as the defensive football team, I promise you, is screaming reverse, reverse, reverse. That's how you take advantage of a team that is over-pursuing and is very active on the offensive or defensive side.
Ashman and Spike to the top. Fillmore to the bottom. 5:38 left to go, and a hanky thrown in. Did we have a little false start or movement on the offensive line, perhaps, for the Raiders?
Looks like we might have seen a little bit of a flinch by the left tackle. Reynoldsburg is going to start walking back.
Yep, false clinch the call. Make it 1st and 15.
Once you get down in your stance, you got to be quiet in that stance. You cannot move at all.
It was on the left side of the line.
Heard Coach Fusateri yelling out, just go, John. You got the call. They're not going to change the play call. Just stay with it.
Mr. Luttrell along the bench for the Raiders had a big fumble recovery earlier in this contest. Referee doing a great job tonight, and Michael DeJohn, 1st and 15 for the Raider 49. Spike thrown down. Harris comes shooting through.
Zach Harris was on a dead blitz. It didn't matter who came through there in the middle. He was going to tackle him whether they had the ball or not. Watch Zach Harris. He's in the backfield as quickly. Look, right now, he could have gotten the handoff. Pretty good job by Chris Spike holding on to the football and not fumbling it.
2nd down and 17. Situation where you get that kind of pressure up the middle. If you have a quarterback can roll out, it can make the play even more effective. course, it helps to have wideouts like Kilbourne and Ashman, and pressure up the middle again from Harris. It's tipped twice, and look at the hand drill. What a job by Gafford to come up with a pick. A.J. Gafford, after it was tipped twice, actually 3 times, including him, comes up with the interception.
Acrobatic. What concentration by A.J. Gafford. If you can do anything to make up for that missed extra point, this is
Harris
huge.
shooting through again.
Harris is the one that hurries the pass. He gets right in the way of the quarterback and tipped once, tipped twice. And Randy, you called it on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th try. A.J. Gafford is able to bring it down. That's turnover number 3 for Reynoldsburg.
4:39 left to go, 3rd quarter. Himmel and Rivers to the top. Inside handoff. They pull the ball up to around midfield. A gain of nearly 11 on the play. The Wolves will move the chains and get the first down courtesy of Ronald Carter.
He's got a good rhythm going, and he's getting good push by the offensive line. Jonathan Smiley, the left tackle. Youngmin Kim at the right tackle. And those guys we talked about earlier, Randy, Walbright, Kaiser, and Davis doing a good job of controlling the trenches.
1st and 10 from the 49. Again, they like those bigger guards and smaller tackles. Wendell looks to the bench, makes a signal. Fulware, Keats finds a little steam, gets it across the midfield strike, down to the 48, Raider territory with 4 minutes left to go, 3rd quarter.
You know, watching Stephen Rivers out there, he's got Melvin Griffin covering him. Melvin Griffin, who was injured on the kickoff return, is still out there a little bit gimpy. If I'm coaching up here, I'm on the radio, I'm calling down and saying, let's go back to Stephen Rivers. If we can get man coverage against 45, I think we can beat him.
Rivers hasn't touched the ball in this contest, has he?
Not yet.
2nd down. Just more than 7. With 3:36 left to go, 3rd quarter, 4-point lead for the Raiders. Fulware will keep, not this time. They got him high and low, and the guy that got him up high to help wrap him up was Tajoki Amati, the big defensive end. He's had a solid season for the Raiders. Came in with 32 solos, 33 assists, and 8 tackles for a loss. Likes architecture and drawing.
He also likes drawing target on these quarterbacks. Tajoki Amati comes up, makes the play, gets an assist in there by Jason Cephas. Pretty good crew of linebackers here at Reynoldsburg.
3 minutes left to go, 3rd quarter. The ball resting at the 46. They need just about 6. Handoff up the middle, there's nothing there. Kind of a surprising call on 3rd down.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he didn't put the ball in the air. A.J. Gafford was man up on Melvin Griffin. 4th down and 5. If this brings up a punting situation, it'll be the first punt of the ball game for Worthington Kilbourne. They've yet to have to punt. Reynoldsburg, Randy's only punted 1 time in the game.
On the first series of the game. Yeah. Carter gains 1 in the play. It's a 4th down and 5. Late substitutions by the Wolves.
Well, let's see what happens here.
Nobody back deep yet, although Fillmore now retreats back in single safety for the Raiders inside the 20-yard line with 2:17 and ticking.
My guess is they'll kick it away from him, kick it towards the sideline.
I almost give Laurel a carte blanche here. Like Paul had earlier in the season, if he can find the opening, let him take it. He lost the handle. Now he has no choice, and he goes down at the 47-yard line. You hate to see that because Laurel has got the boomer, also has the speed, but just lost the handle and his balance, and a big break for the Raiders.
Well, it certainly didn't look like a bad snap. It's almost like he took his eye off the ball just momentarily, trying to do too much. We got isolation right here on the punter. Snap's a little bit low, but certainly not a problem snap. And Mike Laurel, when the knee goes down, the play's over. Wow.
1st and 10 now from the Wolves' 47-yard line.
It's like a turnover right there. That's just as bad as a fumble.
I talked about the roller coaster. It continues. 24-20 Raiders with the ball on the Berg now with a chance to drive the short side of the field. Ferguson looking left, and Harris comes shooting through. And Zach attack continues for the Wolves.
You're not going to keep a back in the backfield and commit him to the linebacker. You're going to lose your quarterback. They're going with 4 wide receivers. They got a back in the backfield. On the snap, the back's leaving the backfield, Randy. He's got to stay there long enough to check the linebacker. We talked about Zach Harris being a big-time playmaker, and he is a big-time headache right now for Tony Pusateri's football team. Look at number 6. He just flat runs by any of the offensive linemen.
He's over 100 tackles now on the season. 1:17 left to go on 2nd down and long. They They need about 19. This is Foster. Finds a seam across midfield. All the way down to the 45-yard line. Just when you think he's stopped, he keeps going, finds another inch or two, and through that seam, cuts it all the way down to the 46-yard line.
Very good blocking at the point of attack by Reynoldsburg.
Hats off to McManus, Braden, Nicodemus, Bowman, and Getz.
This is why I never understood why anybody wants to play defense. You know, you either want to play defense or play on the offensive side. This is the part that would have driven me crazy, sitting there waiting for somebody to come to you, trying to catch a blocker, shed him, and get him off of you so that you can make the play. Much rather be the guy that they're chasing instead of the guy doing the chasing.
Even though you get hit hard, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They need 9 from just past the 45. Ferguson, play action, looks for Kilbourne. He stopped early, and it took a long time for Ferguson to get the ball down there and just kind of lofted it over him incomplete with 22 seconds left to go third quarter.
You know, they're running what's called a dig route where Mark Fillmore is going to run about 20 yards downfield and then hook up and come back. It wasn't open, so what John Ferguson does is simply throws the football away. Now, Steve Belisari throws one away like that in Ohio Stadium. Everybody boos him because they think he's misthrowing the football. That's a good play by the quarterback, John Ferguson.
Second time you've gone there in this contest.
I understand.
But they're scoring at home. Paw allegedly back to punt. Pressure on, he will kick it. Gafford came shooting through. Lorello watches it hit out of bounds, and we'll see where they mark that with 15 seconds left to go third quarter. The ball is marked
right at the 20.
So Bulwer and company get it back, so they dodged that bullet when Lorello couldn't handle the snap on the punt attempt on fourth down. They get it back now. First and 80 from the 20.
And Randy, that won't show up anywhere as far as a turnover is concerned, but Worthington Kilbourne is very, very fortunate that botched punt doesn't end up being a scoring opportunity for Reynoldsburg.
Rivers and Himmel to the top.
Oh, you gotta go up!
The pitch. Wendell brought down from behind across the 23, maybe to around the 24-yard line against Chijoki Amadi with a second great play in the last 3 plays defensively for the Raiders.
It's an innovative way to run an option. You're bringing Corey Wendell in motion, and that'll be the end of the third quarter. Bring him in motion. He stops, goes back the other way, and he's involved in the option.
One of these teams will be playing their last quarter of the 2001 campaign. Will it be Reynoldsburg or Kilbourne? We'll find out together exclusively on Sport TV right after this. Stay tuned. They're pumped. 24-20, the home team on top. But Kilbourne has the ball on second down and 6 from the 24 to start the fourth quarter. Wendell, the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Hamilton is there, and again Amadi is there.
Corey Wendell got about as much as you could on the play. Good speed and quickness. Made sure that he got himself upfield. And you look at the statistics here at the end of the third quarter. Kilbourne still dominating in total yards. 5 turnovers in this football game, Randy. A little bit of a surprise. The 2 football games Reynoldsburg lost this year, Westerville South and against Dublin Scioto, were the 2 games where they turned the ball over, I want to say on 6 occasions, excuse me, against Westerville South, 4 occasions, I think, against Scioto.
Exactly. Fulware wants to throw. Throws it up. Look at Gafford. Adjusts to the football. And I think we'll have the flag on Paul over the back. But I'll tell you what, Gafford did a great job to break his route and try to adjust to the football. And Paul went over the back to make the play defensively and draws the flag 47 seconds into the fourth quarter.
You know, just an observation. Watch on your own and see if you feel as though, and we're going to get a great shot of this, as usual, best camera crew in the business. Interference?
Oh, yeah.
You bet. No doubt about it. Now, here's my point. Every assistant coach on the sidelines of Reynoldsburg is making trust me, making an idiot out of themselves, screaming for it's not interference. Tony Fusateri, what's he doing? Tony Fusateri is watching it with class.
That's right.
He realized it's interference, no question about it. Let's get on to the next play.
First and 10 from the 40-yard line.
That's the difference between experience in head coaching and guys waiting to get there.
Whew, get warm in here. First and 10 from the 40. The option. Trying to turn the corner. Lorello, he's got an opening. Across midfield. see where they mark him out of bounds. If it's across the 50, he's got the first down. That's the case. Move the chains. 11:05 left to go in regulation.
Very impressive. Good job again at the point of attack. Looked very similar to the play that Reynoldsburg ran, where they did a good job of blocking out on the flat. Again, your quarterback coming out, he's optioning the last man on the line. That's Shane Carlson. And Michael Arello gets about as much as he can. Melvin Griffin coming up to make the play.
1st and 10 from the 49. I go back to your point, Jeff. I think it's an excellent point. Lorello appears to be the athlete. You got to try to find a number of different ways to get him the ball, even though you have a number of weapons. Hand off inside, the quick burst on the quick opener. Gets the ball down to around the 47-yard line. Carter may have fallen forward to the 46 with 10:55 left to go.
A pretty good surge on first down. He hits the hole so quickly, Randy. It's good and bad. Good in that if it's open, he's gone. Bad in that he's going so fast, he doesn't even have a chance to change his direction at all.
He almost beats the blockers.
If he doesn't guess right, he's going to make, somebody's going to have a sore back, and it's going to be his own football team.
2nd down. They need 7. 10.5 left to go. They fake it to Lorello. They look long downfield. They've got a man to pass. A little underthrown, but caught on the play. Nice job by Corey Wendell to just cradle the football at the 28.
Corey Wendell did exactly what he should do. He sat down in an open spot of the zone. This is a dangerous pass for Eric Boulware to throw. This is a little bit throwing late back over the middle. This is the one that makes coaches go crazy. But he was able to be strong enough to get it back, and give credit to Corey Wendell for coming back to the quarterback, sitting down in the zone, making sure that the quarterback could find him.
1st and 10 from the 28. What a game here on Sport TV. Handoff inside. Carter wrapped up at around the 26. Tag team tackle on the play as Grady gets him along with Kamadi.
What a good football team or game right now between two very well-coached football teams, well-prepared. Eric Boulware very efficient offensively, throwing the ball. 5 out of 7.
Gafford way wide at the top. Griffin has him there. And off inside. And it's down to the 25-yard line as Carter has seen most of the carries here, with Harris not playing much at all, in fact, on offense.
I don't know if we've got even Harris with a single carry in the football game. Has not carried the ball.
And you look at the timeout situation as we approach that portion of the game with 9 minutes left to go. Neither team has burned a timeout here in the second half.
Brady, with as much blitzing though as Harris has done, he's got probably as many yards as Ronald Carter.
Gafford to the top, Hemmel to the bottom. Wings to the top and bottom. Boulware wants to throw, pressure on, dumps the screen. A good job to catch the ball, but there is nothing there. Whittle caught the ball, but he was hit as soon as he was able to get his paws on the football. It looked like the guy making the play was Joe Strasser, the defensive end, who had 21 solos and 15 assists coming into this contest.
4th down and got about 8 yards to go. Randy, I think you're in a situation clearly in 4-down territory. You don't get the first down, you certainly expect your defense, and we're going to get a timeout by Kilbourne. Good call by Coach Gafford.
He burns his first with 8:24 left to go. Comes out to talk to his offense. Coach Gafford is a guy that's on the field more times than some of his players, I think. There is a guy that is a great teacher. You talk about a head coach that likes to teach, likes to instruct. Coach Gafford is a guy that is always out there letting his team know exactly where they stand. And a complicated offense, too, to run, Jeff. I mean, we touched on that in the past.
You know, the composure of your head football coach is critically important to the composure of your football team. These young men look to the football coaches for, you know, not only motivation, Randy, but they're looking to these guys for